All right, now we have an interesting exchange between Don Lemon and Elon Musk. Don Lemon, ever since he was unfairly, wrongly fired by CNN, Don Lemon has moved on to hosting his own show. I don't know where you can find this show. I don't know what platform this
Me
thing is
either.
on. I don't know where you can find the Don Lemon show. I don't know where you can find it. Somebody in the comments who follows Don Lemon. I'm not sure why that would be the case. But if it is, holler at us and let us know where you can find the Don Lemon show. But Don Lemon was able to land a big fish on his show, none other than Elon Musk. And they got into an interesting dialogue, a back and forth about content on the Twitter/X platform. And Don Lemon was trying to ascertain from Elon Musk, why wouldn't you take down certain forms of content that are harmful? And Elon Musk's stance is, well, we have a hard and fast policy on this. Whether you're comfortable with it or not, if it is not illegal, we do not leave it down because in our eyes that is censorship. And Don Lemon disagrees. And so there was this back and forth exchange in which they were talking about the merits of censorship on the Twitter/X platform. So this is a pretty interesting back and forth between these two guys. So we'll play this and then we will, give our 2 cents on what we think about it afterwards.
Well, that's not was what the study shows. And you said you like transparency. I'm going to show you this, and
Don, you can get a study that will tell you whatever you want.
But these are just a handful of extremely. You look at those anti-Semitic and racist tropes and tweets, and as of this morning, they're still on X. And from your own content policy, these posts should have been deleted. So why haven't they been deleted? Why are they still there? Did you?
We delete things if they are illegal.
These have been up there for a while.
Are they illegal?
No, they're not illegal, but they're hateful, and they can lead to violence. As I just read to you, the shooters, in all of these mass shootings, attributed social media to radicalizing.
So Don, you love censorship, is what you're saying?
No, I don't love censorship.
Then why are you asking?
I believe in moderation, but I don't believe in
censorship. Moderation is a propaganda word for censorship.
Don't you think free speech is one thing, right? Or not,
Look, if something's illegal, we're going to take it down. If it's not illegal, then we're putting our thumb on the scale and we're being censors.
You're putting your thumb on the scale for moderating hate speech. I mean, you don't put out child pornography. That's not.
It's illegal.
Some people would say that. I'm just saying.
No, I literally said, if something is legal, okay, we will obviously remove it.
Okay.
But if it is not legal, the laws in this country are put forward by the citizens. We're a democracy. If those laws are put in place by the people, we adhere to those laws.
Okay, I agree.
To the laws of others. If you go beyond the law, you're actually going beyond the will of the people.
Okay, agreed with the law. But if you are doing something that promotes hate and violence and ultimately leads to killing, you don't feel you have any responsibility not to do that? When the people who are doing it admittedly are saying
there's articles all the time that lead to violence and killing. Don't they? Shouldn't they? It's like you're applying a differential standard to.
But that would never be in mainstream media.
Whoa. All right, now one thing before you go, YouTube moderators, hey man, we disavow all those stereotypical images that were shown. We do not support that. Those images were shown to illustrate the point that what's his name, Don Lemon was making towards Elon Musk. So we're not promoting those images.
Is that disclaimer really going to deter? Would that disclaimer really affect anything?
If moderators are watching a video, because they have to make sure that there's like a reason, like why'd you show that?
Okay.
And so we showed it to document the conversation between Don Lemon, Don Lemon and Elon Musk.
Right. Okay. Hopefully that cleared it up. So what did you make of that? Musk is saying, "Hey, man, we don't really take it down unless it's legal." And Lemon is like, "Well, I mean, certain things border on, why, it might not be illegal, but if it incites violence or hate speech or any of that kind of stuff, you have a responsibility to kind of moderate that." So, two opposing points of view. What did you make of that exchange? You think either one of them has the right idea, or somewhere in the middle, or where are you at with that?
Um, I think that people are adults. Well, not everybody on the internet are adults, but I think that people can say that I'm more in line with what Elon Musk stance on censorship. Just in the sense of if it's not illegal. If it's not illegal, then he doesn't see any need to step in, and I feel as though that's a good enough bottom line for policy. Um, there's direct calls for violence, and then there's memes. If it's a meme, if it's whatever, um, it's should be, if it's not illegal, it should be fine. In my opinion, I don't condone hateful imagery. Just because I think it should be left up doesn't mean I think that it's fine. I think that people are going to post stuff like that regardless. Um, those communities of people are going to chum around with themselves, and even in the height of cancel culture, those people are still going around and having their own forums just to talk like this. So that type of banter, if you will, is not going to go anywhere. I don't believe that incites violence per se. Uh, Me personally, I think that violent people incite violence. I think people that are extremely hateful um, aren't really taking too much time out to post memes. So long as it's not illegal, I really don't see it. And this is from a black person, and we get our jokes towards us too. We get our slurs and all our crazy stuff towards us, and or what have you. But I feel like everybody's entitled to their own opinion and their freedom of speech. So him saying that things need to be moderated, that's just code word for censorship. It's kind of like what I said earlier in the thing where, censorship is, in my opinion, has crossed over into social engineering the minds of people. So, what are your thoughts, sir, on Elon Musk, Don Lemon, going at it over censorship?
Uh, I think Musk is more in the right, but I don't think Lemon is wrong. Like I don't think that there is a place for hate speech. I do think that legitimate hate speech. I don't think there's a place for that. I honestly don't think that there's a place for legitimate hate speech. But I also don't like what we have going on, which is in lieu of trying to safeguard against hate speech, we have created an environment in which people can't express points of view without having their livelihoods taken away from them. And so, as a result of that fear of having your livelihood potentially taken away from you, if you express an honest point of view that at the most is disagreeable, people have decided to censor themselves. See, the censorship thing, the censorship angle of this to me goes beyond social media companies outright limiting content on the grounds of censorship, and it extends into people censoring themselves in lieu of wanting to avoid being what we have colloquially come to call canceled. So I think while I have a problem with hate speech and don't think that there's a place for it, absolutely, I also think that there's a happy medium that needs to be struck here between eradicating, moderating, whatever word you want to use, legitimate hate speech and being more welcoming to the idea that people can express at the most disagreeable points of view without censoring themselves or without being fired from their place of work or whatever, which in a roundabout way is a form of censorship as well. Like, I don't think that that's the answer either. So, you know, I don't like the idea of, I want to try and, make it very clear
Mhm.
that I don't think we need to be promoting, advocating on behalf of, suggesting that hate speech needs to stay around. If
Right.
moderators feel like something is beyond the pale and it's legitimate hate speech,
Right.
get rid of it. Get
Right.
rid of it. But at the same time, if a person like Gina Carano goes onto Twitter and says, sometimes I feel like as a conservative person in America, I deal with being persecuted like they did back in the 40s, I don't think that she should be fired for that.
Mhm.
Because that, to me, like, you might not like that, you might disagree with that, but there's no part of her comments that were hate speech. But what we're seeing is when people say stuff like that, it's being categorized as hate speech. So their comments get taken down, and on top of their comments getting taken down, she gets fired from her job. Or you got somebody like Kyrie Irving, and I'm not the hugest Kyrie Irving fan in the world, but he, like, what did he do? He reposted a link to a book. You know what I'm saying? And just because he did that, he got suspended by the NBA and had to apologize for something that is just at the most is disagreeable. That to me is censorship too. So where do you draw the line here? You know what I'm saying? Like, where is the line on that stuff? Because that to me is not okay. Like, if something is truly reprehensible, then we need to deal with that accordingly. But just because someone expresses a point of view that you find to be disagreeable, it doesn't mean that that person needs to have their livelihood stripped from them, or that they need to take their post down, or they need to be contrite and issue like an apology and all of this weirdo stuff that we make people do now because we don't agree with their comments. So I think that we have, like, shrouded, like, I think that we've clouded, like, things like hate speech. We've sort of taken things that aren't hate speech but are disagreeable, and we've taken things that are legitimately hate speech, and we've put them all into the same bucket, and we're
Right.
just stirring up that pot, and we're calling everything bad, everything's hate speech, everything
Right.
needs to be taken down, fire this person, fire that person, this person needs to apologize. It's ridiculous.
Right.
So that's where I think we've lost our way on that. So I hear what Lemon is saying, but if something is truly a form of something that needs to be kind of moderated or taken down, then we need to deal with that. But they're not all. It's not all the same thing. It's not all the same thing. Or you look at somebody like Rachel Nichols. Rachel Nichols was legitimately fired by ESPN, and what did she get fired for? Because she said, I don't think that just because I'm white and Maria Taylor is black, that I should be looked over as the main anchor for NBA Countdown on ESPN on account of your bad history with equitable hiring on the grounds of race. That's what she said. Rachel Nichols didn't say anything hateful. She didn't say anything hateful. She just said, hey, I'm white. Maria Taylor's black, but I think I'm better at the job and more qualified. I don't think it's right that she should be hired over me because she's black and you guys are guilty about hiring black people. And somehow that was misconstrued as hate speech, and Rachel Nichols got fired. That firing to me is a form of censorship. So it's like, where do we draw the line with this stuff? So I don't like that stuff. I don't like that stuff. But I also don't like legitimate hate speech as well. So where's the happy medium? Where do you draw the line? What is that line of demarcation? Like you said, people are reasonable or smart or whatever you said. People are intelligent, I think was the word you used. I agree with that. I think people are intelligent too. People know the difference. But companies and these social media networks and these, whatever, people are trying to take the responsibility out of people's hands to make their own judgment call. And we're just lumping everything into the hate pot, and we're firing people and stripping people of their livelihoods in the process. And I hate that too.
Yeah, I mean, last thing I'll say is, I did work for a social media company before, dealing with hate speech before, and the whole thing was the line, what you mentioned. Like, where's the line? What's the stuff that's okay? What's the stuff that would offend people? Why we don't want to chase off this group of people from our platform. We don't want to chase off this group of people from our platform. Don't talk about these people like this. Don't talk about these people like this. And so this is what offends these people. They can't show any of these images. This is what offends these people. They can't use any of these words. But people use those images and these words all the time. So how can you monitor that, and how can you show it? So if you do end up showing an image, for instance, you have to make sure that you clarify yourself why you showing that. And you shouldn't be making fun of the people or because it's not cool. That's not cool. That is promoting hate. But then there's ways of conveying yourself where you don't have to use any of that stuff at all. So, but where is the line? And as you mentioned, once this line gets blurred, there's stuff that's thrown in that pot that to me is not even close to offensive, and sometimes it's even as a black person. And sometimes there'll be stuff coming through, and they'll play the video for me. I bust out laughing. I'm like, "Hey, what? Oh, y'all taking this down?" They say yes, so we're taking this down. I'm like, "Oh, whoa! I thought that was funny. My bad." No, but it's racist. But it was towards black people. So again, man, internet censorship is a wild thing. I get it, because you really can't have places where they're actually talking about really hateful stuff. Like, I get that, And once you get involved with, like you mentioned, corporations, business interests, and stuff like that. I mean, certain names don't want to be yeah, I mean, I get all of that stuff. But it's a slippery slope. So Elon just took the extreme route and just said nothing unless it's legally illegal. And at that point, I'll do something. So, but that's an extremist approach to this. But he's a troll. And if you let Elon X or anything else get up under your skin, man, this is what he wants. And he probably ain't got to pay for censors or moderators either. This guy's so cheap. So you never know what's going on with this guy. But yeah, man, interesting talking points there, man. I agree with you, man. Where is the line for censorship and expression? Who knows at this point?
Yeah, I think the extremists on either side are controlling the narrative.
Mm-hmm.
The extremists who think nothing should be taken away are controlling the narrative, and the extremists who think everything is offensive are conversely controlling narratives. And there's no space for the in between. There's no space for the nuance. I've learned to live with this reality, but what really does get on my nerves is when people say stuff. And it's like, like I said, the best word that I can come up with to describe it is disagreeable. Meaning, was that truly offensive, or do you just not like it because you don't agree with the point of view? There's a difference there.
Right.
And what bothers me is you have these people who say disagreeable stuff and their livelihoods are being impacted as a result. And I don't like that part. And, a lot of times we look at censorship as take this down, take that down, take this down, which that is traditionally what you would define as censorship. But in my opinion, when you strip a person of their livelihood for comments that they've made, that to me is a form of censorship too. Because you're deterring future behavior, right? So anyone else who thinks they might want to express whatever opinion they have, they're not going to think twice about doing so because they don't want to incur that same penalty, which is a form of self-censorship because they're just not saying anything at all. And then you have, these, and then otherwise in the workplace, you have policies getting made up on the fly where it's like, you can't say this or do this, or else your job or your livelihood is in jeopardy, which is in fact a form of censorship. Because again, they're looping everything into that umbrella of things you can't say, not just the stuff that you actually really shouldn't say.
Agreed.
So it's crazy out here. So I think both of them have points. But there's got to be a happy medium somewhere in there. But we are not at that happy medium right now. All of it is being defined as a no-go, and people just can't say anything anymore. It's like, if you don't got nothing good to say, don't say it at all, because everything is a controversy, everything is offensive, and everything is a problem. And so, someone smarter than me is going to have to figure out what the solution to it is. And I don't think Musk is that person either. I think he's just a rich guy. Find someone else who can figure out the solution to that, and come holler at us here and let us know what that plan is.
Elon, the troll of the millennium. I love it.
Yeah. Go fly into space or something.